If you don't already know, this here is my Overkill gaming PC. I built this roughly a month ago, and yes, it's giving me some problems, more than it should have, but I fixed it, and today we're gonna do another upgrade. So currently I have 32 gigabytes of RAM, which is pretty sufficient for any type of gamer, because it's the ability to register everything. Basically, the idea of RAM is to make sure everything flows smoothly and operates well. Obviously, there's a lot of different components that have to intertwine with them to correctly work, but for the most part, it helps the system run smoother. So in this video, I'm gonna be installing another 32 gigabytes of RAM that's at 6,000 megahertz capability, and it is DDR5. Now, I actually ordered this primarily because I've been having actual issues with the RAM, and it's not a matter of its performance, it's actually the RGB. I'm not trying to say Corsair is a bad company, but their IQ software is so freaking bad that like majority of the time the RGB does not work. And then when you try and actually make it work in the IQ software, it just doesn't want to comprehend anything, so you're left with a non-RGB working RAM stick. But the RAM itself works, so that's great. I mean, again, it's not the end of the world that the RGB doesn't work, but it's at the same time, it's like, you really do genuinely wish that everything worked, especially for the amount of money that you're paying for it. So having 64 gigabytes of RAM should be plenty for literally anything. 32 gigabytes of RAM would even do just as well, but whatever. So I absolutely love this PC. But here's a little story time. So last night I'm listing my PC on, you know, Marketplace and eBay and all this stuff, and I turn it on so that people can see it works. And I'm like, dude, I kind of had this gut feeling of like, I could have just had this same PC. It wouldn't have been any overkill, but I could have just changed out the GPU for like 800 bucks or something. And then I would have saved probably around $2,000, which, you know, at this point in time, I'm like, dang, I wish I did that. But at the same time, to have this $3,000 experience of not only building my first PC, but diagnosing things and really understanding it and the capabilities it has, I think it's worth it. Now, yeah, there's pros and cons to each scenario there. Like, when I kept it, upgrade the GPU would have been perfectly fine, plug and play type stuff, you know, mess with the BIOS a little bit potentially, or just build this entire new thing and, you know, whatever. Anyways, the only thing I don't like about this PC right now is the fact that I cannot turn it on via keyboard or mouse. Now, I know there's a setting in the device manager where you can do that. They're already on there. I just don't understand why they do not work. So each time I want to turn it on, I have to use the power button here. I don't click it fully, I just click it a little bit. So I'll click it here, and bam. So as you guys saw, the chassis fan over here that I added, the RGB somewhat works. It's mostly the fact is that I had to use the RGB controller from the CPU liquid cooler that I got from Corsair that absolutely freaking failed. I dismantled that and kept the RGB hub. So that's plugged in, it's just, I have nowhere else to plug the USB in. So here, I know there's a lot of reflection, but the USB connections are already used. So more than likely, if I wanted to plug it in and actually use it to the capabilities it had, then I'd have to get probably another adapter. So that way it can run two. But we're not at that stage yet. I don't really care about it that much. If I added more CPU fans, maybe, but I think that's really the only one that I can add, because I can't add them down here. But you guys have to admit, I mean, this is so cool. We got an F1 GIF on here. I think honestly, so beforehand I had the dual holographics, so like you saw the GPU temp and then the CPU temp. It's cool, but reality is you just need to know the CPU temp. That's it. I mean, the GPU temp is basically like an audio thing more than anything. Now this also depends on your set max parameters for the fan speeds and the cooling. Otherwise, you could actually overheat the GPU. So this was one of the issues. I'm glad it kind of showed up literally seconds after that last clip, but this is the problem. This is the entire reason why I ordered this. Most of the time, it just goes to a blank red and I cannot switch it off. So sometimes when you have RGB RAM sticks, it actually tells you that something's wrong. However, there's nothing wrong with this. So RGB is pretty cool because it's not just for pretty lights and colors. It actually does do meaningful things and tells you when things are not working properly. If I go to the IQ software, it literally says nothing. And obviously that software is capable of telling me when things are wrong because it told me the pump failed. I wouldn't have known the pump failed if it didn't tell me. Obviously you could hear it, but so you see here, nothing's wrong. I got my dim set up, which is the location of each one. If I go to lighting effects, I have it on the rainbow. and like I could switch it on, switch it there, and it just doesn't want to do anything. It sucks, but sometimes you can't help it. Last thing I'll say about inserting this extra RAM here is that you guys won't notice a difference. I won't notice a difference. It's just adding more to the collection. First step is shut the PC completely off, then turn off the power supply source, unplug the power supply. Majority of the time, yes, you should lay this flat, that way you can snap it in and stuff, but honestly, I'm just gonna keep it like this. I'm gonna unscrew the case and then put it in. And always make sure to ground yourself. Anytime you're working on a PC and you ever have static, you could very, very easily ruin everything. So a good note to understand is when you're working on a PC, adding multiple components or even taking them out to clean them, so on and so forth, it's always a good idea to remember to switch off the power supply and then actually unplug it from the outlet. Once you do that, you should be safe to have a very much static-free zone. Four sticks of DDR5 RAM. Yeah! Alright, well, as cool as it is, I don't know if it's going to turn on because this is the thing. If you implement new RAM, it may not work. I don't know. That's what happened to my old PC. Making sure they're all flush and seated properly beforehand. They look good. Okay, well, in 3, 2, 1. Oh, duh. It's not connected to the power source. There we go. Connected to power. Turn the power on. 3, 2, 1. It's a good sign. Another good note to know is when you're dealing with memory or some other type of very important component for a PC is to always update the BIOS settings. Normally it's automatic, but sometimes you have to do it manually. Sick, dude. It looks so good. Jeez. Now it's a freaking kill PC. Sheesh. Oh yeah, so I forgot about this step. Crap. Ladies and gentlemen, here you have 4 sticks of RAM. I don't even think I had this in the other PC. Again, normally you don't need it. You actually really don't need it, but this is now 64 gigabytes of RAM. Absolute perfection. I do believe I have to go into BIOS to actually kind of correct everything. So I'll shut this off again, do that off camera, but this is sick. Now it looks even better than it did before. Well, this is the current RAM frequency at 4000. That's still pretty good. But this is where you set up your entire RAM configuration, the profiles and everything. Dude, current RAM size, 65,536 megabytes. Jesus, dude. Everything looks good. Sometimes you do have to go into the profiles and manually do it. This one seems to do it automatically, which is fantastic. This is just insane to have that much in RAM. Oh my god. Short-lived. I don't know why that's the case. Okay, well, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Maybe next video you'll be like, oh my god, there's yet another thing wrong with my Overkill gaming PC. Or, if I'm lucky, there won't ever be another video like this for a minute. So, thank you all so much for watching. If you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. New year, new goals, and see you soon. Y'all see that? I fixed it. So this IQ software has a really stupid thing where it integrates the software with the motherboard, and sometimes they don't clash well, which leads to that static red color instead of the RGB, even though on the IQ software it says that nothing's wrong. Whatever, it's fixed, and I've had no problems with it. RGB's working now. You just have to go in the IQ software, turn off the integration, and then bam.